Hi everyone, welcome. I am here with Dr. Marcus Chacos, chiropractor, best-selling author and creator of the Author Mastery Program, which teaches chiropractors how to write a best-selling book to serve their community and grow their practice. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
First question, so Marcus, teaching chiropractors to write a book is a big leap from being a chiropractor. What brought this about?
That's a really interesting question. Look, I've always loved being a chiropractor. In fact, I still love being a chiropractor. And an incredible thing happened over the course of, naturally being in practice, and you obviously serve your community, you impact a lot of lives. And when you see certain things happening in your practice that you have a natural affinity to, or people gravitate to you because of a skill set, knowledge or ability you have, you find that you develop a deeper skill, a deeper understanding, and you end up researching in that area. For me, that happened to have been arthritis. My father had arthritis and it was really debilitating for him. It impacted him to the point where he was unable to work, and therefore had a pension due to work injuries and things like that. And I wanted to help my father, and so I researched arthritis. And although you learn about arthritis as a chiropractor and you develop certain skills, it wasn't impacting him as much as I wanted to. So I went further in my training. I did additional courses, I read more information, and after a while I realised I was helping people with arthritis within my practice to a more substantive effect. In fact, at one point in time we were getting such powerful results, such profound impact in people's lives, that somebody said to me, you really need to share this message more, whether it's write a book or produce a course. So it didn't really occur to me until such time as somebody said, go share this message with the world. And so as a result of that, frankly, I didn't know how to write a book. I wasn't, in my mind, a writer or an author. So I decided to learn how to do that as well. And I went and I actually did a course and learned how to structure a book, write a book, and then deliver this program. And it was incredibly beneficial and helpful. It took me an amazing length of time to go through it because I didn't have that, foundational knowledge. And then after around about 9-12 months worth of working on this project, I did deliver a book, and it was so well received. It became an Amazon bestseller. I was super excited about that, and it impacted my practice incredibly. It grew the practice, it allowed us to serve more clients and community. But this whole journey began because of wanting to serve people, impact people, and learn as much as I could, and to have a greater knowledge and awareness. I think that's where it started from. But I guess the program also developed as a result of when people saw me having written a book, that I think they wanted to say, well, how did you do that? What was your journey? And so I started researching and learning this process, and then writing more books and helping with that process. I found out, first it was my own journey, and then the questions people asking me to help them and assist them on their journey as well.
Okay, so writing a book obviously allowed you to be more successful in your practice. How did you go about writing it? Was it difficult?
The initial process was really challenging. I said it took me around about 9 months, and I think when you're not used to writing a book, and people who are teaching don't always understand that you don't know necessarily the frameworks, or they don't know your industry. Certainly they didn't understand chiropractic, and so there was all these generic thoughts of here's how you should write a book, and mostly it's geared towards fiction, to be honest. But once I started to familiarise myself with the process, it became a lot more easy, because honestly, a book is a conversation. And a lot of chiropractors, when I do work with them, say, I couldn't possibly write a book. I know you've written a book and you've done this training. But what it actually is, when you go into a consultation with a patient, you have this conversation and you share your message with them, and they ask questions that just about every patient asks, and you answer those questions in similar ways. And when you then do a report of findings or an x-ray, there's certain messages, and in your care there's certain messages again that you want to deliver. So in reality, every practitioner's written a book, they just haven't put it into writing, they've spoken it to their patients. And once I realised it was a blueprint for writing, it actually became a lot easier for me to write multiple books, which I've done, multiple bestsellers. And yeah, it's certainly helped me be more successful, but it actually helped me to galvanise my thinking, communicate more effectively with my patients, and grow my practice. So it was a really challenging journey to start with, but once I uncovered the blueprint, once I managed to decipher the formula for chiropractors, for practitioners to deliver their message, it became effortless and very, very easy. So it's an exciting journey for me.
I suspect that many people would believe that you need to be the highest level of authority. So you need to have a complete mastery over a topic to be able to write a book. So what you're saying is that's not the case, and chiropractors are already masters in their field.
Absolutely. That's a really great point. The really interesting thing about the context of that is a lot of chiropractors, when I talk to chiropractors about writing a book, they go, I couldn't possibly write a book. I'm not a writer. Well, we've dealt with that issue. You can. It's a conversation you have with your patients every day. That's the content of your book. And the second thing they go is, yeah, but I'm not an expert. And in fact, I had a conversation with a colleague recently, and it was really interesting. And they said, I couldn't possibly write a book. I'm not an expert. And they said, well, it's the people who write the textbooks that are the experts. And so we went online and we Googled a textbook on a particular subject and said, so this person is the expert in the field. And they went, absolutely. And I happened to use arthritis as an example. So I brought up a rheumatology textbook, and they're an expert in the field. And then I brought up my book, the Arthritis Solution. And I said, if your mother had arthritis and you knew this was helpful and valuable, my book, which would you give to your mother who's got arthritis? The rheumatology textbook written by the so-called experts, or this written by a practitioner who knows about the condition a person's presenting with and can communicate at a level of people's understanding. And that was an amazing breakthrough for this person, was because really you're not going to read the rheumatology textbook if you have been diagnosed with arthritis, or you're not going to read the immunology textbook if you have chronic fatigue syndrome, and you're not going to read the sports medicine differential diagnosis textbook if you want to be a peak performing athlete. The reality is you want a book written by a person who understands the condition at the coalface here within our practice. And that's what we all do. So the amazing thing, and this is a really important message for you to understand, you've spent 5 years at university, additional years studying training, the clinical expertise and knowledge that you've got, that is expertise. So that the reality is an expert is somebody who knows something more than another person, that can add value to their life, that can impact them in valuable ways. And if a patient walks into your office, the first question is, can you help them? Can you add value to their life? Can you make their condition respond in a positive and beneficial way? And if you can, to them you're the expert. And so you don't have to have multiple degrees, a PhD, to be an expert in the mind of the patient. You need to be somebody that can help them, that you feel confident in your knowledge to support them in making a positive outcome. And the message you would share with them, the story you would tell them, the way that you would guide them through their healing journey, that is your book. And that is a profound understanding, because that means every chiropractor is an expert. Every chiropractor has a book within them.
Okay, so if chiropractors are already experts in their field, isn't that enough to succeed? Do they really need to write a book as well?
Honestly, I would love it if people could walk in to their practices and there'd be a line up out the door. You know, they get there in the morning, there's 100 people at the door waiting to say, let me in to see my chiropractor. The chiropractor is the most impactful person in my life, and I'm super excited to be part of the chiropractic journey.
Okay.
I haven't seen that take place.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you there, because the reality is we need to be able to share our message. Chiropractors don't have the luxury, say, of medicine, of having the pharmaceutical companies spending millions on marketing. The drug companies are making certain that the community knows that the first port of call should be your general practitioner. The chiropractors have this challenge, this obstacle, this difficulty of making themselves known to the community, known to the public. And if they're unable or unwilling to do that through marketing, they're unable to position themselves powerfully in the mind of their community and therefore their patient. And I feel that the number one strategy is writing a book so that you can send that message out to the community that you are there as an expert and can serve, impact and help them, and the book lets that happen.
Amazing. So what type of result can you get by writing a book? How does it impact a chiropractor's business?
That's a great question. The impact, honestly, can be completely transformational. I think when I think about what writing the Arthritis Solution has done for me within my practice, it allowed me to do the first thing, which is what I term niche down, profit up. By specialising in the field of arthritis, the automatic extension of that is not only expertise, but also the value add to the community. So when you think about a general practitioner and you go to your local doctor, you might say they charge $70 or $80 or $90, whatever that might be. When you go to your specialist, they're $200 or $300 or $500, whatever the case may be. So the very nature of specialisation affords you the opportunity to increase your fees compared to the average. So when you have a niche or a specialisation, you have an expertise. That expertise affords you greater income earning potential. So that's the first way it works. And certainly I'm at least 30% more than the average practitioners in my region in terms of fees. And if I look at it from a dollar perspective, over the last 3 years, the increase in fees that we've been able to attract as a result of my specialisation in arthritis, it's been more than $1 million in the last 3.5 years that we've generated around the area of the specialisation of arthritis. The other impact that you can have is obviously growing your practice really rapidly. So we do workshops and seminars, and we afford that in terms of the student, not the students of chiropractic, sorry, the new graduates that we get, the associates that come in. One particular launch we did, we took a new graduate chiropractor from naught to nearly 100 patient visits, generating nearly $200,000 in a 12-week period of time. So one seminar based on our book massively grew our practice, both profitability and volume-wise. So it's the number one strategy for growing your practice, creating a flood of new patients coming in, as well as demonstrating your authority, expertise, and building your credibility. So I find it the most powerful way to effectively grow a practice, increase your profitability, and serve your community all at the same time.
Okay. Well, it certainly seems to be a very valuable tool, and you really do believe it's the number one strategy for growing a chiropractic practice. What do you suggest that chiropractors do now if they want to write a book?
If you want to write a book, the strategy is actually far more simple than you'd ever imagine. In fact, I reference it as effortless, because if you have a conversation with a patient repeatedly, as I said, if they come in and they ask questions and you have specific answers, and there's education and information you want to share with them, and there are challenges they face and you show them the opportunities on how to overcome that, that becomes your book. So the way I work with chiropractors, and I specialise with chiropractors because I'm a chiropractor, I know the industry, I know exactly the blueprint that we need to use to write a book in the language of the patient and from the chiropractor's perspective. The process becomes me asking a series of questions, and we blueprint, well, what does your care program look like? So you have an initial consultation, oftentimes as an x-ray, a care plan delivery, and you may have components like exercise or diet or adjustive processes and going through the philosophy of chiropractic. So you almost blueprint and document every conversation you have with your patient over a period of time. And most chiropractors almost have this documented. Some chiropractors call it tick or table talk. So there's messages that they want to deliver. And then so you have this step-by-step conversation already pre-planned, at least most people in their mind. And if not, it doesn't take long to draw that in a conversation. And then for me, I simply have those conversations with somebody, usually not in the room, as an imagination. I'd sit there and I'd grab a microphone and I'd pretend that I'm talking to you, telling you everything that I want to tell you about your journey, about your experience and what's going to take place and what needs to overcome. And I'm holding this microphone in my hand, recording this, and then as that's dictated, I get that typed up and turned into a book. If you're more comfortable typing, you type that process. But it's firstly mind mapping the client journey, document that in a conversational style process. And once you've done that, you've got the framework for a book, and then you need to just go a little bit more detail in the references, in the research, and in the structure. And I've actually written draft books in under 2 hours with chiropractors, and they love the journey, and they didn't realise they could write a book that quickly and that effortlessly off the top of their head, but they actually can.
It's impressive, very impressive. Thank you so much for sharing. I guess, do you have any last words for the chiropractors out there who might consider themselves to be budding authors?
Absolutely. Look, the first thing is every chiropractor is an author. In fact, not only is every chiropractor an author because they have a message to share, every chiropractor needs to write a book. Our industry needs it. Chiropractic needs it. The people out there in the community need to hear the chiropractic message. Could you imagine if there were 1,000 chiropractors having written 1,000 bestsellers impacting hundreds and thousands of lives, what that would do for the chiropractic profession? It would change the landscape of the health industry, of chiropractic practices. And what that would mean to you, the extension of that is you become a best-selling author, you have the expertise status as a result of that positioning, and you grow your practice, become increased in terms of your profitability, your service, and your impact. And that, to me, represents one of the most powerful and profound reasons to become an author, is because it changes who we are individually, who we are collectively as a profession, and we get to serve our community on a profound level, impacting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives. So I believe everybody is an author. and I would like to help you if you're looking to become an author. And certainly just reach out and let's find a way to help you through the Author Mastery Program become the author you deserve to be.
Thank you so much for sharing. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to Dr. Marcus Chacos directly. Until next time, bye.
Thank you.